Nothing's gonna stop us now. Is the mic working this time? Testing 1, 2. Hey, what's up, guys? Thunderbolts was above and beyond and has quite a bit going for it. It's a fun movie, had a really good time with it, and it's really interesting to me that more and more movies, especially those that are in like wide release and this high of a quality, are dealing with mental health issues. And I think it's a direct representation of the cultural zeitgeist, but also our current plight as humanity. When a human story can touch on something so pervasive, but also so important, and do it well and interestingly, and not be too depressing or over the top or too preachy or anything like that, I think it's a win. This movie is pretty great. Marvel may have had an issue with villains in the past, so maybe they just decided, oh, we'll just make the villain inside their heads the whole time. Maybe that's their new solution. But either way, there's a lot of dark humor in this movie, and it lands for me. It's funny. I mean, some of them are morbid and dark. Like, there's kids dying in a lot of places, and one of them is almost comical how quickly it happens, but at least they bring her back. At least she's found by her parents afterwards. It's pretty dark, pretty morbid. I do like the way they deal with the ideas of depression and the way that the void is something inescapable, and the symbolism there and the lightness with which they touch on these dark ideas and these dark moments for anybody that deals with this kind of thing is really impressive. Yelena's story in particular, she starts by dropping off a building like she's committing suicide. That's dark. Of course, she has a parachute, but it's enough to try to kill yourself because there's nothing else you can do. And then there's this unavoidable pathway that you have to walk through the rooms in the head of Bob at the end. But all of this is just well written and interesting and somewhat unique for the Marvel universe. We've had psychological problems with people. We've had these back and forths of ideologies, but nothing that's ever really gotten so far into the mental health realm. And that's all it is, right? There's not really a quote unquote traditional villain, and I think that works really well. Unfortunately, things are a little convenient through this movie, and the plot points that play out specifically around Bob and his transition to Sentry seem quick. It almost seems like they missed a scene, or they edited out a scene of him kind of transitioning. Kind of wish there had been a little more explanation of why he thinks he's a god. I mean, it's just that one scene. It's those few moments where he's talking to Valentina and kind of walks himself through it, and it just feels rushed and a little ham-fisted, and it doesn't make a lot of sense overall. But I mean, once you play him through Void, it's like, well, isn't he dead? And it's like, why does Void survive because he's dead? Not a comic book reader, you guys can correct me in the comments, but I think there's enough there to be like, nah, this was weak. Now the follow through on that and being in his head afterwards and him and Yelena's connection, all of that playing out as like a villain character arc and like we're gonna beat the villain even though it's in his head is really good. It works really well. And I'm not sure what the mechanics of his like void power are. I would have liked some explanation in that, but that wasn't as much of a bother as the transition was for me. Otherwise, this movie really plays the actors up very well. Florence Pugh and David Harbour freaking kill it. They're what make the movie fun and interesting. Their quips are quintessential Marvel and just really funny, and their jokes land. I had a lot of fun with the way that they play off the father-daughter relationship. The father and daughter dialogue that takes place under the bridge right before Void shows up is wonderful and meaningful and impactful, and then immediately he loses her to the Void. It's really good. And it wouldn't work without those two actors. They're both killing it. Florence Pugh and everything she does as far back as Midsommar, and you know, even in Dune, she's just so good. David Harbour was great in Stranger Things, but he's having way more fun with this, and that transfers on screen. It's really cool. It's really fun to watch. I wish they had kind of given some of the other characters a little more screen time, particularly in Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier. It feels like they kind of put him in there to have him in there, not really as like a helpful addition, but really he's just kind of there doing his thing. But the good thing from him is the whole sequence where he meets them for the first time and he uses his old explosives in Captain America movie Winter Soldier, and he's doing the Winter Soldier thing, but it's very Terminator, right? They're harkening back with the aviator, and he's on the motorcycle and he uses the shotgun outside the window, right? It's all just playing off of that, and that action sequence is just really fun and really well done. And then the fact that he still attacks them and blows up their car is even better. It's great. His capture of them is just wonderful and doesn't feel ham-fisted. It felt natural because he's involved and he's there. He should be. And it makes sense that he's part of the new Avengers too. As far as other actors go, Louis Pullman, who plays Bob in Top Gun Maverick, and Rhett in Outer Range, and he's been in other things, but those are the things I remember him from, is good. He's so great. I absolutely have enjoyed watching him, and Bob in particular in this movie, he is funny. He's the new Groot almost, or, you know, or Bruce Banner, right? He's like that all-powerful extra character that's going to kind of be the linchpin in beating the villain in the future, and I just think he works really well. I think it's great. Music's really good in this movie too. It's simple and it's straightforward, but it's a new team, and it has some themes that play out across the whole movie, but it just had that epic quality. And when you couple that with the final thing in the credits of the Fantastic Four score, which is really fun as well, it's starting to feel the same way as the Silvestri stuff from the Infinity Saga, and I hope that they can build upon that as they keep adding more and more characters. So I mean, is Marvel back? I mean, I don't know. I feel like this movie is a return to form for them. It's such a good change and feels like their old stuff and feels like a Guardians movie. It feels like the bunch of a-holes standing around in a circle, right? It's that same version of what made those movies special, but from a different angle, completely different set of characters, and dealing with a very deep topic. And it works. It's really good, and it's monumental shifting in that the Marvel Cinematic Universe feels like it's doing something again, which is not something that's been the case for the last few years. So to have that shift and to have that feeling and that electricity kind of building on itself, even the people in my theater were making noise and cheering when the Fantastic Four show up. That's excitement. That's real motion forward in a story that you just weren't getting in the last few years from Marvel stuff. So if they can land in Fantastic Four, we're in for something special, because we're looking at 2 new Avengers movies in the next 3 years. That has to mean something. Why? We can't just like bring a world-ending conflict in and expect it to matter. So we have to build up to it. The only reason we know that is because they prepped us and they told us that's how that works, because the Infinity Saga did that and did it freaking well. It's amazing. Post-credit scene for the Fantastic Four is really fun. I'm really looking forward to the next installment of the MCU. I hope they stick the landing. I think this was above and beyond. It's a really great movie. Acting's really good. Music's really good. Cinematography is good, but there's moments where it's not as good. Some of the plot points and writing is a little weak, but it's an above and beyond movie, and it's really fun. I had a good time at the theater, and that's all I could really ask for an MCU film, right? So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you at the next one.